Ba-dum, ba-dum. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum.
Welcome to Mish Mosh Soup. How are you? My name is Melissa.
And this is Franklin, aka the Classy Queer.
And welcome to our random stream of consciousness.
Well, it's my random stream of consciousness, too.
Oh, yeah, it is yours. So, can we get into the soup now?
Yes, we can. Hopefully it's good.
Yay! So, Franklin.
Yes.
How?
Well, I'll ask, how was your day? I hear you got some news about your health.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to bring everybody down with that.
Well, no, I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily bad. It's just some interesting, information that you received. It's just something to also kind of document. That way, in case something were to ever happen, or let's say you ever got really big and famous, you have an actual documentation of it that you can refer to as part of your story time.
I don't think I'll be famous. I'm happy that I got, 15 listeners?
Well, you have to start somewhere, and, it's going to trickle down to something as long as we're consistent. But yeah, what's up with your...
Well, I got a phone call. I was at work, and of course I see that I never answer really my cell phone at work. I have it on silent, but I saw that it was the doctor, and I'm like, I've been waiting for my mammogram results, because you do know that I had a mammogram done a few weeks ago, and they said, has anybody called you? It was a nurse. I said, no, and it's like, well, they found an abnormality in one of your nodules, so they want you to doctor wants you to go and get another test done, also a sonogram to see, it could be something benign, but of course I'm panicked. I'm already writing up my will. It's like,
And it's just always something you want to, it's good that you know this now, because you've always been good about, getting your annual checkups, that sort of stuff. And just because it's abnormal doesn't mean it's cancerous. It could just be like a mass, a benign, lumpy, like fatty mass. That's just,
as they say, Peter Griffin says, fatty corpuscle. Remember that fatty corpuscle? God, it was the barbershop quartet featuring fatty corpuscle. Oh man, yeah. But I've had a papilloma removed in the past, and so that's a benign thing. But
so it could be something as small as that. That's just like coming up on the reading, and I'm hoping that it's what it is. Well, that's what that is, and even if it's not, hopefully it's still really early stages and something that we just quickly stomp.
Yeah. If not, well, Franklin, like I said,
I'll have to carry on the podcast without you.
Oh yeah. you can carry on, and
I don't know if I'd be able to do so. Like I'm the reason why we even have such a good schedule with this podcast, why we've been able to crank them out like we have been, is because you are sort of the driving force behind it. You are the planner. You're the organizer. So you have us on a set schedule. If it were me, it'd be like, one podcast every 6 months.
Yeah, that's true. I'm the one that kind of like gets the
ball going.
Yeah, gets the pedal to the metal. So,
yeah.
But other than that, everybody out there, women, even men too.
Men can get breast cancer.
Yeah, actually they can. But I really do encourage y'all to keep up with your annuals or whatever. It's required of you, men. Colonoscopies.
Testicles.
Get your testicles.
Get some testicles.
Get your testicles checked.
Which there's like a big, I've heard a lot of guy friends tell me to them it's weird. And so they won't even get an examination done because of
the prostate exam.
Yeah, it's just because of I don't like anyone down there. But
feels like a cheap date.
It's like you're not even you're not screwing this guy. He's literally just there to check to see if you have an enlarged walnut in your body.
And also on a more serious note, my ex-husband, your father, had passed away because from prostate, no, from actually colon cancer, because he had, when he told me,
and he was young too.
He was young, 47, 48, and he called me and he said, he gave me the news. I was in Hawaii with my husband, and he just wanted to let me know. And he said, look, I told him, didn't you notice signs? Didn't they catch this at your annuals? He goes, you know me about going to my annuals or, that stuff. And I'm like, well, didn't you see signs? He goes, well, yeah, but I just thought it was a urinary tract infection. And I'm like, for a year?
Oh
so by the time they found it, it was already stage 4. And he went quick. He went quick.
It's scary. It's just scary how quickly something like that can happen and take over your whole body when you just over time just tell yourself, oh, I'll get to it later. No, get to it now if you can.
Yeah. So I am a big believer and a big proponent for going out and getting, these preventative measures. Men and women every 10 years get a colonoscopy, and women every year after 50 get a mammogram. So... yeah.
So I'm actually scheduled, well, not scheduled right now, but I'm due for a colonoscopy, which, I'm only 28.
Well, but you have a higher risk because,
because of him.
Your father had Lynch's syndrome, so it actually is genetic.
Yeah, so I have a higher proclivity for that. So getting a colonoscopy, even at 28, for me is something that's like, yeah, you should definitely do that, especially if there's a history now of having that in your family. So... well, anyways, but that's not what this podcast is about. No. But it's good. It's
let's turn that frown upside down. Aside from that, it's the weekend. Woo,
TGIF.
Woo,
woo. Oh my God, I'm so God. And a long weekend at that.
Oh, it won't be Friday for you because new episodes release every Thursday at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. But for us, it's Friday, and it's like I've already had a margarita, and he had finished the rest of mine.
I was like,
drive-through margaritas.
That was the first thing I noticed. Was like, was that a margarita?
And he's like,
sure enough, it was.
He's like sucking it down like a cheap date. I
haven't done that in forever.
Taco Cabana, it's where it's at. Hey, hashtag Taco Cabana, not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored. Hashtag wish we were.
I know. Other than that, I think you're going to be the one taking the driver's seat on this one.
So I don't know what it is about the culture in San Antonio and drivers that think they feel it's okay to take over the world, take over the road like they're the king of it. And I think maybe it's probably the machismo culture here. I hate that. I hate that that's even a thing here. That in and of itself drives me insane. I hate that men have here in particular feel like they have something to prove. Yes, like no one fucking cares. Like, so what? You're driving a Mustang. That's like the shitty. That's like the shitty car of America.
No, but I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean,
Sorry, oh my God, I probably offended a whole bunch of people. I just hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, Mustangs are so cool." Mustang. I'm like, it's literally just a Mustang.
It's just a Mustang. No, but we're actually. I mean, I have been gone from Texas for 20 some odd years, so it's I've been only back for 2 years, and it's like it was culture shock for me. And I'm from here.
You literally came, culture shock because she was living on an island where there was literally just like 2 roads.
Yeah, and prior to that, I was living in Maine where we lived for 10 years where there was 1 road and not a major highway. Well, they had, a 2-lane highway?
Well, I was going to say with Hawaii, wasn't it just 2 roads, one that goes north-south, one that goes east-west, right?
Yeah, and the speed limit was 45 miles an hour on the highway and 35.
It's like, where are you trying to get to?
And the highway was literally a 2-lane road.
Yeah.
I mean, there ain't no high in that highway. It's just a 2-lane surface road.
So if you're going about 100 in Hawaii, it's like, what for?
You're on the news, and you will be probably excommunicated off the island. Yeah, but no, I mean, I got here, and it was like, what? I was picking up the car from the port of San Diego. When it finally arrived, I flew out to San Diego and I had to drive it back.
You drove a long ways back.
I drove from San Diego, but when I was going through El Paso and I was actually leaving town, there was a cop on the side of the road giving somebody a ticket. So I'm like, I'm just driving and I drive, past them. It was, there was like 2 lanes on each side and I didn't think about moving over. I just, passed them. I wasn't speeding, going the speed limit, which I thought was 65. And then all of a sudden I see this sign coming up and it said 85 and I'm like, what? 85? And so,
Girl, you got pulled over for going under the speed limit.
No, actually, I got pulled over for, all of a sudden, it's like 2-3 minutes later, I see the lights and I'm like, oh my God, what did I do?
I promise I'm illegal.
I was like, yeah, no, Franklin. Jesus, I'm not that brown. But, I am Hispanic, but
But that's not what the stop was for.
Yeah, it wasn't, but it was, I was like, man, what did I do? And then he walks up and I go, officer, hi. I was going 65 miles an hour because that's not the problem. I said, well,
what was the problem?
What's the problem? And he looked, he kind of like, I could see him glancing and he said, well, first of all, license and registration. And of course I had my sticker that from the boat that said, port whatever, and he goes,
ma'am, you got too much junk in that trunk.
No, he said, well, I pulled you over for a particular reason, but I kind of gather that you don't know the rules. Judging by your license plate, it said Hawaii.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, well, what law did I break? And he said, here in Texas, whenever you see any vehicle on the side of the road, whether it be a cop, whether it be emergency vehicle, tow truck, whatever, a stalled vehicle, you must pull to the right side.
Or the left side.
No, the right side, because...
Oh, because he was on your left.
He was on my left, and the thing is, you're not allowed to park on the right side unless it's an emergency.
Yeah.
But I was like, what? And then he said, yeah, because we've had so many accidents of people getting hit when they're, on the side of the road, we call it the breakdown lane.
Yeah, the shoulder.
The shoulder. And I'm like, well, I didn't know. He goes, as a matter of fact, can I ask you a question? And he said, sure. When did the speed limit go to 85? And he started laughing. I go, actually, I'm a Texan. I'm from San Antonio, but the last time I was in Texas, they were all up in arms over it being 55.
Oh my God.
And he said, oh yeah. He says, it's been quite some time. And actually, he said, they're trying to bring it up to 95.
Well,
I'm like, what?
I can believe, especially from El Paso going into San Antonio, I can understand why they want to put that speed limit up to 100 because it's a long drive. I'm surprised you even did it.
Oh,
I'd die.
I did it in 2 days.
Oh my God.
And I literally drove like 13 hours.
Well, you did it in 2 days, meaning from San Diego to San Antonio.
To San Antonio, yeah.
Not literally. From El Paso to San Antonio.
No. Literally 2 days. And only because I was forced to stop because I don't want to drive, in the dark. I just don't. I could imagine myself being a let's not meet story.
You saw a little girl on the side of the road and you pulled over.
Oh, God. Or I see a cryptoid.
Oh, my gosh.
Or what do they call it? Cryptids?
You would end up in one of those videos that I watch.
I would be a story that would be narrated by Let's
Mr.
Read.
Ballin.
Mr. Ballin, yes. I like B-Busta. Hey, one of my stories was actually narrated.
Oh, that's right.
By B-Busta.
One of your... Oh, which also an idea for another podcast. It'll be some spooky stories that you've encountered or that you had.
But for those that want to hear my story... It's on B-Busta's YouTube channel, and it's the episode
Doppelganger.
It was off of a series that was the the album cover or the little cover that the thumbnail says I saw a copy of myself. But it's story number 3.
Yes.
It's about a doppelganger.
Yes. So that's also really good. So yeah, look up Beatbusta doppelganger video. Check it out. But that, like I said, so that'll be a good topic for another, like, I think, podcast.
You, though, have experienced road rage to the max.
So actually, this is my one and only encounter thus far with road rage here in San Antonio ever. And I was pretty scared. I was scared shitless. I thought I was going to get killed, or I thought I was going to get, like, my ass beaten.
Which is a reality here.
Yeah,
you could literally get killed.
Yes, machismo culture.
In fact, we just had a death. Remember the woman who I forgot what, but it just happened a few weeks ago where she shot the driver only for, and didn't even cut her off. She just passed her up or something. And they drove off the highway and oh gosh.
People seriously lack coping skills, and I think that's another reason is a lot of guys, because this happened to be a guy that my interaction was with, but this is just a generalization. I from my experience,
it happens with women too, so it's not just men.
But I'm speaking from my personal experience with the men here in San Antonio who just lack coping skills. Like the only way to like diffuse a situation that they feel is to like fucking,
run somebody off the road,
or run someone off the road, or like dent your car, or it's like, ugh, for what? So anyways, I was working actually, and it was my 15-minute break. I was like, ooh, I'm going to head down to the little Valero and get myself a slushy, a little snack, something.
A little nosh.
A little nosh, maybe some quiche on the side. from the Valero.
As one of my friends called the quiche one time, a quickie.
I think that's called Roadhead.
Oh my God.
No, but so I go and get my I'm heading to the Valero, and it's literally like a 2-minute drive from my house, straight shot. So in the halfway point, there is a subdivision on this access road, and so cars are always coming in and out of this subdivision. So I grab my food. I'm actually headed home. And I end up at this intersection.
Which I stopped.
I had a stop sign on my end. I waited 2-3 seconds, and I looked both ways, and then I started to go. Well, this car, I noticed in my peripheral vision, pulling around the corner in the neighborhood to kind of come up to this intersection. Well, I was already 2/3 of the way past their point, and they ended up just hitting the brakes and honking their horn because they were about to hit me. But I'm already
T-bone.
Yeah, they were almost about to T-bone me, but I'm already like literally like almost clearing the intersection.
Yeah, you had the right of way.
So basically, he then starts to pull up. So he pulls around the corner to go onto the road that I'm on, and he literally is on. First of all, he's driving on the wrong side of the road. That way he can be up next to me on the side of my car, and he's signaling me to roll down my window, and I can see him, but I'm just focused straight ahead. And the only thing I end up kind of like looking to the side just once, and I smile at him, and I just turn to look straight.
Oh, and that probably pissed him off.
That pissed him off. That was the cherry on top, I guess. He was like, "Oh no, ma'am, not today, honey."
You were in full glam.
So he ends up. So I start to speed up, then he starts to speed up next to me, and keep in mind, he's still on the wrong side of the road. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the hell?
He's going to have an accident with somebody.
Yeah, and so ultimately what happens is he ends up pulling ahead of me, then gets into my lane, that way he's in front of me, and then he stops and hits the brake. So I have to hit the brake and stop. Then he gets out of his car, and so he gets out of his car, and he starts to walk up to my vehicle. I don't know what he's saying, because at this point I'm like, okay, there's a crazy person walking towards me. I'm not really understanding what he's saying. I just know he's yelling and walking towards my car. So
not a good situation.
So what goes through my head was, first of all, he's upset. I'm not going to have him hitting my car, kicking it, breaking glass. So
or even worse, you don't even know if he has a weapon.
Yeah, this is Texas. Anyone can have a weapon. You can literally go to an expo and just buy one.
Yeah.
So what I end up doing is I end up reversing, and the whole time I'm just reversing, and then I spin the wheel to turn around and go the opposite direction. He hauls ass into his car and he starts to follow me. Well, because I got a head start, I'm kind of ahead of him, and I'm always away. So I end up turning into the subdivision he came out of initially, and so I'm in the subdivision, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's gonna be following me. So I literally am like looking for a spot to hide. I'm like, I need to hide behind some big truck in someone's driveway.
Yeah.
So I actually did find a driveway that had a large truck. Thank God for people here who buy big four-wheel.
It's a big truck state, and just so that people can get a perspective, you have a little smart car.
I have a little smart car, a
Yes.
little two-seater. So any big truck would have done the trick. So I park into someone's driveway. I hide right next to a car, a truck, and
then
I
you
just
duck.
wait. And I wait. I literally just wait because I'm like, oh my God, this guy is like going to be telling me, like going through the neighborhood. I wait for a good 6 or 7 minutes, and I'm like, okay, well, I think I should be good. So I start to get out of I pull out of the driveway, and I start to like slowly drive my way
kinda
out
like
of the neighborhood, kind of
going
looking around like, oh my gosh.
Is he going to just pop up?
And I guess either he was like, whatever, I lost him and like took off, or I don't know what, but or maybe
Probably.
he was still looking for me. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know, because I mean, he knows apparently the neighborhood you
Yeah.
don't.
So
Oh, my
long story short, that bitch fucking ruined my break.
yeah.
I had to go right back home without a freaking lunch.
No, but thank God you have a good supervisor that you were like, I need to compose myself.
Yeah, no, my heart was racing. I tailed it to my house. No, he didn't ruin I'm lying. He didn't ruin my lunch or my little break, because I ended up getting the stuff I wanted to purchase.
Yeah,
but I did go home, and I did call my boss, and I said, hey, is it okay if I take a 30-minute break, because I just went through an experience and it really shook me to my core. And she's like, oh yeah. And I told her what happened, and she was like, yeah, no problem. Take as much time as you need. I totally understand.
You were like,
compose yourself.
let me get some
Yeah.
Animal Planet in. No, what was it? Some Animal Crossing in.
Animal Crossing.
Kind of center my chi. Center my chi. No, which is the song that you like? The one that goes. Well, you can,
There's a ton of songs from Animal Crossing I love.
But he was.
But no, I didn't actually play Animal Crossing. I literally like composed myself and took a breather. But that was
Enjoy
one-
your Slurpee.
when people talk about the fight or
Fight.
response. There are very few instances in my life that I can think of where I've had a situation where I've had that sensation, and that was definitely one of them. It was not a good feeling. I definitely chose flight because I was not. First of all, I have logic and reasoning. I know I love my body. I love my face. I don't want to have a broken arm or a broken face. I don't want to have any sort of bodily injury done to me. So why would I engage in a fight?
Yeah.
Second of all, I have a car that I need to pay, because at the time I was paying off my car. I was like, second of all, I have a car that I still have to pay off on, and I don't want to have to go through the whole making a
Process.
claim on my
God.
insurance. So that's why I don't get why certain guys or girls choose to fight or choose to get into those situations where they're forced to like literally attack somebody. For what? You're going to end up breaking something, or someone's going to get hurt, and then it's just more added stress to your life.
And then it's added stress to them because they're not thinking that, okay, they're probably going to press charges.
Yeah. Hello?
I'm going to have a record. I'm going to have to pay restitution. Not to mention, I mean, what if he didn't have insurance? Well, they're going to tow his vehicle.
And worse enough, like that story you talked about where the person ended up getting killed. Now that
Yeah.
person's a murderer.
Exactly.
Over-
and that
over because-
really did happen. And it's a sad reality in this town. I mean, I see it every day. I told you that I think just earlier in the week, I was coming home from work, and I'm on the access road, and this guy, because big trucks are a big thing here. Big trucks are a thing. And I have a little tiny
Versa.
a little car. I call it a little skate. And this guy was just like, I see him in my rear view, and he's just coming up quick. And he's literally kissing my bumper. He did not hit it, but he was right there. And I'm going the speed limit. People are so impatient. And you could tell he was like, hurry up.
Come on, lady, come on.
And I'm like, move over and pass me up.
That's why you have a passing lane, buddy. Which, that's another thing. People will use the passing lane as an excuse to, oh, this is like the drive fast lane and only fast.
Yeah.
No, it's only meant to like pass somebody up if you need to like take an exit, or if you need to like, get into... Yeah.
Have you seen the drivers that literally will zip in and out?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I literally...
And not even use their turn
my
signal.
God. They're just like, literally, if there's a space, they're going to take it. I have not experienced such aggressive driving since I've been back. And I'm like, what happened? People have gotten in a bad hurry.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen literally people that are on... I mean, and we have 5-lane roads. Okay, I hate... going to any part of the north. I mean, I hate going far on the highway because
then you start getting into like 6-7 lane territory.
God.
You're like, oh my
but
God.
I literally have seen people that are like on the 5th lane on the right,
go all
and
the way
all
to
of
the
a
other...
sudden it's like, oh, there's my exit, and and I'm going.
There's no planning. There's no preparation beforehand of like, oh, maybe I should be in this lane because I know my exit's coming up.
It's like, oops. I mean, it's like a speed. It's like Death Race 2000.
Russian roulette.
Death Race 2000. I'm like, man, for all them oldies out there that know what Death Race 2000 is, the OG one, it's like, oh my God, I literally every day going, I'm gonna witness an accident, because I've witnessed it before when I was a young teen. Me and my sister were coming from the airport, and we saw a car pass us in a hell of a hurry. And me and her kind of made a comment like, whoa, I hope you get there quick. And next thing you know, we see that car flip 5 times, hit another car. God. And we were like...
I'm getting chills.
I was like, oh my God. So every time I see a car weaving in and out of traffic in front of me, I literally hang back. I'm like, I can just see it happening again.
Like some sort of pile up or something happening.
Yeah, I mean...
like, because you don't want to be a part of that pile up if one does happen. Yeah, for sure.
It's like, people...
So
get a grip. Take a Xanax before you go on the road.
Well, actually, don't take a Xanax because you don't want to be medicated driving.
Yeah, exactly.
But take a little chill pill beforehand. Like, take a little breather. Like, let's do that right now. That's all it takes. And then you're on the road and you're like doing your thing, put on some
music.
Yes.
It's like, I'm over here listening.
See, people hate me at the office. I'm sure people hate me at the office because I am the kind of person that, okay, I'm not a morning person, but I will do anything and everything in the morning before I show up to work to get myself in a really chipper or happy mood, whatever you want to call it. So I literally pump myself up doing my makeup, listening to some music, doing my skincare, all that stuff.
Making sure that your chi is correct.
And so that way when I'm on the road heading to work, and when I get to work, the whole process, I'm just like jamming out, just having a blast.
Oh yeah, me too.
So
I listen to podcasts in the morning.
Yes. So you can listen to this one. You can even listen to this in the morning.
Yes, you can listen to us and kind of get a little bit of a chuckle. You know,
you can listen to road rage incidents while being on the road.
Yes, the more you know. Boom, boom, boom.
So I do have another story. Oh my gosh! See, like we got off topic for a little bit. Now I have to kind of circle back to it. But I think it was. There was this girl I would travel with, I guess, carpool with, when I used to work at the state school. So.
We're not going to say which school, but...
Yeah, it was kindergarten. So, no,
it was a state institution, so that's what we're going to say.
But so I'm driving. I was the passenger in her car, and we're on the highway, and we're just, heading to get lunch or whatever. And she starts weaving in and out of cars on the highway. And the whole time I'm like doing the whole like squeezing your butt cheeks,
gripping the
side of the seat, gritting your teeth, like,
and holding that breath, making your sternum real tight.
Make sure I don't dookie myself. But so the whole time I'm doing that, I'm like, oh my God. And she tells me, oh yeah, by the way, Franklin, like, I make it known that I need to make a turn, that I need to make a left, or I need to make a right, and people better know beforehand that I need to do it. And I'm just paraphrasing. Like, she said something stupid like that.
Oh, God.
Because I think I think when she was doing this, I mentioned, like, oh, I noticed people here don't use their turn signals, because thankfully ahead of us, other people were doing the same thing. So I was using that as an excuse to kind of mention what she was doing. Like, like hint, like wink, wink, like, you're kind of doing the same thing too, lady. And she goes, I guess she doesn't, it goes over her head. So her only response is, oh, by the way, like, I don't ever use my turn signals. People better make sure that they know that I need to turn whenever I have to turn. And I'm like,
oh my
the
God.
logic in that was so stupid.
I'll never be getting in another vehicle with you again.
I was literally left speechless. Yeah, I was literally left. I don't know what to say to that. Because you can't reason with somebody who's already in that mindset.
Can I tell you that the penal code says that there is such a thing as vehicular manslaughter?
Oh my God, yeah. And so this lady truly believed that people should know when she wanted to turn.
Of course, because we're all Nostradamus.
Yeah.
It's like
we must, yeah.
We all have the shine.
In her world. But I thought that was just really like an insightful little view into what I feel a lot of people share here in San Antonio who have that mentality.
Oh, God.
It's like this complex. I don't know.
And you know what? Who gives a shit if anybody gets all pissy? Y'all need to check yourselves when you're on the road, because let me tell you, the same people that you're doing that to, if you're one of these drivers that just does not know how to get a grip,
eventually,
you have loved ones that are on those same roads and are going to come across the same type of people. I know that.
And it's not a question of, if I happen to be in an act. No, it's, well, how do you say? It's not a question of if, but when.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you drive like that, it's going to happen. You just don't know when.
Exactly. It's just...
Because it's not just you, it's other people who you have to consider when you're on the road, who their driving behavior too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody just drive right. We're not in Germany. This isn't the Autobahn. Thank God this isn't the Autobahn. Holy crap.
Which, I wonder how that's going over there for them.
Oh, they have some of the safest... they have some of the safest statistics.
I would imagine so. It's Europe. It's a European
Autobahn,
country.
I guess the last time I was on it was like 125 miles was the minimum speed limit. But people are responsible. And they don't have anything to prove. Nobody's on a steroid kick.
Well, you know what I think it is? We have... this speaks to like the culture here in America. We have this individualistic mentality. Like everyone... You're out for yourself. You're only in it for yourself. You are the only person who matters. Whereas I think in other countries, it's more so you put your neighbor before.
Oh yeah, it's very much a community.
It's a community.
The communal
culture.
Mentality.
Yeah, communal mentality. That's what it is.
I remember reading in Japan when they had that.
Talk about groupthink. Japan is really big.
Remember when they had the big earthquake that, it really moved. It literally it was so bad that Google Maps literally was like a bunch of the GPSs were kind of thrown off by 2 or 3 degrees. What? Yeah, the whole island of Japan was just
they just relocate. They're like location.
Yeah,
we need to get.
But I was watching on NBC News. Some of the reporters that were there that were covering the recovery efforts, how people were not hoarding or they weren't freaking out. They were actually in lines, being patient and actually respectful because they think of the
big
whole,
picture, yes,
the whole versus just that one person. People
And
were
it's
not,
also just knowing if we do this in an orderly way, everyone's going to be able to have their fill. And
Yeah.
therefore, everyone's better for it. Whereas over here, we have people literally hogging during the gas crisis. When we had people, I saw a picture of a lady dumping gasoline from a pump at a gas station into a flipping laundry basket with holes.
a friend of mine who I worked with in Hawaii, she lives in South Carolina. And she's already had her baby, but she was like, the same people that were hoarding toilet paper, which I don't understand still why toilet paper was the first thing in the pandemic. You know, it's like, put toilet paper and eggs.
Who wants a stinky ass?
But she said, fucking people are like literally hoarding gas, and then damn price gougers, gasoline owners, $9 a gallon for the ones they saw an opportunity and they were like, yeah, capitalize on this. It ain't a trend.
Wait, so you had people selling gas on the side?
No, some of the gasoline station owners jacked up the price to like $9.
What? That's fucked. I mean,
Yeah.
that's messed up.
It is.
I thought you meant like, which I'm sure it happened. I'm sure regular people were just doing it too. Like, I got like 5 whatever you call them, containers of gas, and I'm going to sell it to my neighbor for like $10.
Well, when I was living on Maui, we had many times we were like, every hurricane season, it's like, it's the big one. People freak out. I was over at Safeway taking photos right in front of the manager. Yeah, I'm reporting y'all. Look at that, $25 for a case of water. I'm like, yeah, shame on you, Safeway. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like looking at me, and I'm like, I'm posting this, and because they would get fined for price gouging. Here, when the mayor,
You were the Karen that did good for others.
hell yeah, I was like, excuse me, you do know this is illegal, right? And they're like looking, I go, yeah.
But the right kind of illegal, not like I need to speak to manager for some stupid reason. This was a good reason.
Exactly. But, we would, the first thing they would go whenever, people would get toilet paper in Hawaii.
Oh my God.
Spam would go out the door. And Vienna sausages.
Spam, really?
And Vienna. Okay, I don't get the Vienna sausage thing. I'm like, ew.
Yeah, those are like, my mouth is like salivating just wanting to
Puke.
throw up.
But anyway, yeah, I don't understand. Maybe people can enlighten me as to what the whole purpose of driving fast on the highway and being rude to people and cutting them off at the last minute. And
yeah, it's just, but like it goes right back to people just, there goes my phone. And that's another thing. Don't text and drive. So many times I have pulled up to a car right next to me and I look over and they're texting on their phone.
Oh, it had just happened here. Lee, my other son said, "Mom," he goes, because once in a while he'll take my car down to the little
Valero.
No, well sometimes a Valero, but sometimes he'll go down to to Sonic or just somewhere near here. And he said, "Mom," I go, "What?" There was a lady waiting to turn onto the access road. I'm not gonna say where, and there was a car behind her, and I was watching her, and because he was waiting to get in, and he goes, and people were honking, and she says with her head down, and then all of a sudden she looks up, like after like literally 2 or 3 minutes, she looks up and she goes, and then the light turns red. Everybody behind her had to wait.
Oh my God. I would have been, that's a perfect example of like why people sometimes get pissed. I would have been pissed, but the thing is, I wouldn't have taken it.
I wouldn't have driven after her,
at that point, I would be like, you know what? Okay.
You're a statistic waiting to happen, lady, and your time is coming. But in Hawaii, it's literally illegal to walk and text at the same time. You will get a $500 ticket.
What?
Literally walking and texting. Walking and texting at the same time, because many times people have literally walked right into traffic.
Ooh, but that's on them.
It's like, boom! It's like
10 points. Well, actually, isn't it more?
It's like, well, it's 10 points. It's 50 points if it is a person in a wheelchair, because they don't provide much of a.
Oh my God!
They don't provide much of a challenge.
Oh.
They can't really move. And if it's children,
oh my God,
it's worth more because they're fast.
Oh my God!
I mean, that was from the movie Death Race 2000. Okay.
Please don't do that. Disclaimer.
It's like, oopsie.
Oh my gosh.
No, but
no. So that's something I do see is people texting and driving. So yeah, please don't text and drive. It's unsafe. You're gonna end up in a crash. Thankfully, I'm knock on wood, or knock on this laptop right here, because there's no wood next to me. But I've never been in a car crash, and I think it's because to toot my own horn, I think I'm a pretty safe. What do they call it?
A pretty good defensive driver.
Defensive driving. There you go. Mm-hmm. A defensive driver.
Yeah, you really. It's like if I'm calling, he's like, he'll answer real quick and say, "Mom, I can't talk right now. I'm driving." Yeah. Oh, okay. Or I'll.
Yeah, something just real quick. Let somebody know, like, hey, I can't talk right now. But if it's a text, just leave the text.
Yeah.
Don't even read it. Don't even open it up to let them know that you've seen it, because that's why are they ignoring me. Mm-hmm. Just leave the text there. If someone's calling, make sure it's hands-free.
It's they can't get mad at you if they haven't seen that you've seen it, because, I mean...
Leave them on read.
Exactly. Look at that. I've got the hiccups now.
Which could be a cue.
No, I think was it because I drank the alcohol? I don't know.
You literally only had like 2 sips from it.
I literally had 2 sips. But
and I drank the rest.
I know, but me, it's like I'm a lightweight.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of drinking, that's another thing I see here. People, mostly dads, who drink, who will be at a party, like a quinceañera or some sort of like backyard party, because here in San Antonio, people just have any excuse to like, throw on the grill.
Oh, well, you see in many predominantly yuppie communities, it's like, somebody is having
coughed to throw a barbecue.
No, it's like, you're having a barbecue. So what's the occasion? Somebody's birthday, anniversary. And we can say this because I'm Latina. Uh-huh. In the Hispanic community, why are you having a barbecue? Oh, the meat was on sale.
Literally.
The meat was on sale.
We're not hating on people for grilling. Like, that's not the issue. Where I was getting at was that I have noticed that it's mostly dads who are coming from some sort of party, who are literally driving their family, knowing they've had like 5-6 beers.
5 or 6? That's just an aperitif. I mean, have you seen these Hispanic get-togethers?
I'm sure it was more. I'm sure it was hard liquor. I'm sure it was more. But I'm just saying, like, I've seen...
I mean, they have the coolers.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Juice boxes and 40s right next to each other.
That's crazy. Yeah, so I've seen them, like, they're literally driving their family. My dad used to do it to it. So my father, God rest his soul, he would do that. We would leave a party and we would be in the back seat and he'd be driving us, like, knowing he had alcohol in him. Like, that's not safe, people.
I honestly think, but the thing is, it does dull your reflexes. Mm-hmm. Even though you may feel that you're okay, that you can feel your face.
Yeah.
The thing is, it does dull
your reaction time.
It hinders it. Mm-hmm. So
whereas for example, a light may turn green, but like 3 seconds later, it's just now registering like, I have to go.
And then you have a guy behind you honking that's probably going to get out of his truck and beat the crap out of you. Because people here just don't hold their horses. They don't have patience.
This is just our experience with driving with some drivers here. It's not like every San Antonio, any San Antonian, but we have noticed that there is a culture here of people who just aren't safe on the roads.
Oh no, and like I said, it's a sad reality where here it is a possibility that somebody may just not like that you pass them up and then they drive up next to you and they take a gun out and shoot you. Mm-hmm. Just like it happened to a poor mother, and her daughter was shot as well. She was 6 in the back seat, but she survived. The daughter survived. The mother didn't. So
That's
now,
sad.
now you have
Broken families.
Yeah, a broken family. A young girl that's going to
Somebody
grow
in
up
jail.
without her mother. And she's exactly. She's in jail for what? Just because you got your feelings hurt? So what? Let them pass you up. It's like it's not gonna.
And it's kind of the ultimate karma if you think about it. Like that person going back to the incident you saw with your sister, I think you said, where the guy was weaving in and out, and you saw this happening. So you're like, oh, go ahead, pass us up, and then. Yeah, like it's terrible. He flipped over 5 times, but like that's karma.
Yeah,
like, that's what you get for taking the risk.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna play the game. You're gonna pay the toll, and it's not as it's gonna be like I said. It's your chances are higher.
Yeah.
When you do play that game.
Oh, well, and also this is not even going into like road rage culture, whatever. But this is just another side story. This one was kind of sad.
What?
So, I have a real big issue with people who have pets, a dog, let's say, that just let them wander the streets. Oh, my dog or my cat's an outdoor cat. They're an outdoor dog. So I like to take them out and for them to go pee and poop and just kind of like go around the neighborhood. And then
while they go and they drop stink bombs in everybody else's yard.
But what irritates me is because they're putting their animals' lives at risk, their pets' lives at risk, and it's happened to Manny and I where there was a neighborhood dog, and this neighborhood dog was just out and about, and we're going we're on the highway. We get onto the highway, and we're starting to go the speed limit. And this dog just comes out of nowhere because it was a golden retriever. Its color of the fur was the same color as the grass. It's like that light.
Oh, when it's in the summer, it's all like burnt grass.
Yeah, it's like that light yellow sort of color. So it blended in, and so out of nowhere, this dog just comes into the middle of the highway of the road, and we end up hitting it. And this dog had a collar on, and so we knew it was a pet. And it spun us out of control, and so we ended up in the ditch. We didn't flip or anything, thankfully, but it shook me. That was another incident where I've had that sort of flight or fight response.
Did y'all find out who the owner was?
No, it was obliterated. That dog was obliterated. We couldn't find it.
Y'all couldn't find it?
We couldn't find it. It was terrible. I know. I'm like laughing because I'm like sad as well. Like that's just my normal response.
No, but I mean, fucking people, keep your damn dogs on a leash, walk them, get your steps in, sink your
But that's why it irritates me is because that was somebody's pet who they probably thought, oh, he's just a neighborhood dog. He likes to go outside. He's an outdoor dog. And so we just like to let him have his freedom. It's like, no, lady, keep your dog on a leash. Keep it in your yard. Or at least supervise your dog when you're outside with them.
Exactly.
And I hate that because it's like something's going to happen to the dog. Either it's going to get attacked by another animal, they're going to get hit by a car.
Or they're going to bite somebody because they're animals. Yeah. I mean, they might see a behavior in somebody that
they're not comfortable with.
They're not comfortable with, and animals, they're going to protect themselves. Most of the time they're being, it is also sometimes how they're bred, but animals can get spooked.
Oh.
Oops, sorry, hit my head on the microphone. But they can get spooked, and then now you've got somebody who's been injured by your animal. B, your animal has been injured and, sad to say, might possibly expire.
Yeah.
And then, C, I
was gonna say also your animal could get lost.
Lost. How many times I have the neighborhood app because we have the Ring, so we have, they found this cute dog, and it's like, hello, I used to work for the Humane Society in the Hawaiian Islands. So the number of times I saw people, animals come in, they're terrified, they're scared. I mean, you need to supervise your animals and either have them on a leash. There is a leash law. It is an actual law.
And actually, so going into another story, I was jogging, doing a late night jog around my neighborhood, and there was this one house that was already in the back of my head, like, oh, like I know I'm gonna pass this
They're
house
habitual, right?
because they keep their dogs out on the yard. And so one night, as I'm running past this yard, the dog ends up yapping and running up to me, and it bites my leg. And so, okay, fine. It's a small little, like, Pomeranian, Chihuahua, whatever, some sort of small breed. Yeah,
Ankle
sure.
biter.
So it's not going to do much damage. But where the concern is first of all, your dog's not on its leash. You're already in breach of the law.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I don't know if that dog has rabies. You clearly are so fine with having your dog out in the open all the damn time.
It's probably contracted something.
Yeah, I don't know if it's contracted something from a bat, because we have bats in San Antonio.
Yeah, and we also have
Snakes.
taquaches, which are...
We have the chupacabra.
We have taquaches.
I don't know what that is.
It's a possum.
Oh.
An opossum. Yeah, they call them in the Latinos, taquaches.
So actually, I banged on this neighbor's door like at 12 o'clock at night. I don't care if they were asleep. They answered the door. I said, "Excuse me." I said, "Your dog just bit me. I'm already on the phone with,
they're like,
with animal control. I think it's like, what is it, 311 or something?
Yeah.
Animal control." And I said, "You need to make sure you have your dog on a leash or in the backyard, because you're already breaking the law." I said, "I hate to be that neighbor that's making it tough for you, or like breathing down your neck, but I was just attacked by your dog on my little nightly jog, and you're breaking the law, and I'm just letting you know that's what I'm doing."
And what they do? They just close the door?
Well, and I know that this dog was their dog, but what their response was, "Oh, that's not our dog. That's the neighbor. That's just the dog that like wanders the neighborhood."
Oh, so it's a homeless dog.
So, but I'm like, okay, but yeah,
Okay, well then you know what? I'm going to take it and I'm going to go donate it to the Humane Society.
yeah, exactly. And that's what I was like, oh, I'm already on the phone with the animal control.
So I guess they'll pick it up and take it, and I'll let them know that the dog...
actually they did. Because animal control came over to my house like the next day. Mm-hmm. They inspected my leg, and then they told me, "Can you please pinpoint the house?" And so I went over there to, they weren't, I didn't go like up to their door, but I just pointed, that's the house, and then that's the color of the dog, and this is what type of breed it was. Mm-hmm. I saw them from afar. They ended up knocking on the door. And then they came out, and I guess the animal control officer was talking to the neighbors. And she, I guess, tells them, like, "Hey, there was an incident. Your dog bit somebody, and we have to take them in for
testing.
And
you're going to get the bill."
Yeah. And so, and ultimately, I think it's like 10 days quarantine to see if they have rabies symptoms. Mm-hmm. And if not, they either, like, basically just relinquish it if you don't pay for
but you have to pay for the boarding and the kenneling of those 10 days.
So I could hear them. Excuse me. I could hear the neighbors. They were saying, "Oh, my dog doesn't bite. My dog doesn't. He would never do that. Like, he doesn't." She's telling them, "Oh, my dog would never bite." But yet you just told me last night that, "Oh, that's the neighbor's dog. That's the neighborhood dog."
Did they take it?
Right.
They took
They ended up taking the dog. I mean, I felt bad. Like, yeah, it's.
I
I'm
would.
an animal lover.
Yeah, that's why you keep your dogs on a leash. And have they learned their lesson? Well,
Do
they keep their dogs on a leash now?
Well, I don't know. I haven't. I haven't really jogged past their house. But no, I mean, I felt bad because it's like, I'm an animal lover. I don't want to see an animal taken away to the pound. Well, but at the same time, I'm worried about my safety.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
So,
my cats, they beg. I'm like, my meow face will sit by the door as I'm leaving, and I'm like, get away. Get with the little kitty hobo bag. I'm like, get away from there. You ain't going out.
Well, speaking of pets, I have to get home to feed my little Teddy. It's getting kind of late.
Oh, okay. And on that note, I guess we're going to say thank you for stopping by and listening to our random stream of consciousness. Thank you, Franklin, for, of course, always being the genteel co-host. I appreciate it.
And thank you for having me again. It's really good to kind of like
it's
vent.
Really fun.
Just to vent,
Just, yeah, exactly. Like I said, all the opinions in this podcast are solely that. Opinions. So nobody get your butt hurt, okay? If you're getting upset and getting defensive, maybe you should take some little self-reflection to see, do I fall into that category of insane drivers cutting off people, or having Fido run the neighborhood?
So on that note, follow me on Instagram, The Classic Queer, but I'll see you later, Mom.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.